Oh, there. I guess Debbie.
We have a flag out here this evening. You have a flag, shall I go get it?
There's plenty. Rick, scoot down one.
Okay.
And then put that down here.
Okay. We can do it. I guess me, I'll shift over to this guy.
Here, then here's the
Matt,
chair.
you move to the mat.
All right, come here,
There's an
Matt.
empty chair here.
An empty chair here. There, Rick.
Is that another one? Okay.
Should I call the roll? Yes, sir, it
I think it does.
Yeah.
Do you have water? Do you have water? Go down here, Matt.
Matthew, you're down here.
No, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you hear him? Then he's not here.
No, I don't see it.
I don't see him.
That's one sure way to spot him.
If you could just turn that row off. Yeah. Could you adjust those light, that row of lights right there? Because we can't, no, it's this row that's shining right here in the middle of us. Yeah, these spotlights are kind of bad too. Okay. He's good. Okay.
I'm looking at it. How are we doing down there, folks? Are we in agreement that you're ready to go?
I think we're ready.
Greg, are we ready?
1933. Yeah, I think so.
So why don't we get these cabinets up? You guys might be up already if you're connected downstairs.
Good evening. Oh, come on now. This is the first time in my life when I've had an opportunity to make a curtain speech. Good evening. All right, now that sounds like Abingdon there. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody coming here tonight. I think we're going to be in for a surprising evening. I'd expected that we might have an evening that would involve some drama, some comedy, but it may be a little more sedate than that. But again, thank you for your interest and for coming out. And on the behalf of the Town Council, we welcome all of you this evening. Let me begin by asking our clerk, Ms. Tanya Triplett, to call the roll, please.
Here.
Here.
Mr. Humphreys,
Here.
Mrs. Lowe,
Here.
Mayor Morgan.
Here. Thank you. This place has a little better acoustics than our town hall usually does, and it'll take a bit of adjustment to that. We do not have a flag with us this evening, but it is customary to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I think there's a flag somewhere in that direction on Main Street, so if we'll all rise, please. Mr. Howard, if you lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Council, for our consideration tonight, we have approval of two sets of minutes. We have the October 7th, 2015 joint meeting with the Planning Commission and the October 21st, 2015 work session meeting. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be noted to those two sets of minutes? Hearing none, Council, what's your desire on this?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve both sets of minutes as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, comment? Hearing none, Ms. Triplett, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. During,
Aye.
Mr. Howard,
Aye.
Mr. Humphreys,
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe,
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. Council, our next item that we had on our agenda this evening is a proposed rezoning, SEMA Corporation, 440 Green Spring Road, Abingdon, Virginia, 24211. who was the applicant, and the application was to rezone the property, namely tax map number 021-1-5, tax map number 021-1-58, and a portion of tax map number 105A39 that consisted of approximately 33.189 acres, more or less, from agricultural, forest, and open zone to open space district, open space district to be rezoned to B2 general business district. Mr. Kelly, I think there has been a request from the applicant regarding this matter. Could you enlighten us on this, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public, late this afternoon I received an oral request from the SEMA Corporation and the Marathon Corporation that council delay the second reading of this ordinance until its December 7th, 2015 meeting.
Okay, so the applicants then have requested that we delay action on that at the present time. I'll entertain a motion regarding this matter.
Mayor, I so move that with proper planning, this project has great merit. At request of SEMA and Marathon, Town Council will postpone the second reading of proposed rezoning to the next scheduled public meeting of Town Council on December 7th.
Okay, is there a second regarding this matter?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion or comment? Okay, again, we have a request from SEMA Corporation who had initiated this proposed rezoning. The Town Council postponed action on it until our December 7th meeting of 2015. I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. During.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe. Aye. Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, now the essence of that is, again, that we've had a request from the people who asked us to approve the rezoning on the second reading to postpone this until our December meeting. We are not going to be taking public comment at this point in the course of our meeting regarding this matter. Again, we're not going to be acting on it or even considering voting on it until December. We do have a place in the course of our meeting later on where we will entertain comments regarding matters not on the agenda, and if folks wish to make comment at that time, they are welcome to, but otherwise we're going to proceed with our agenda. Okay, now the next item. Sir, you are out of order. You are out of order. Where's my gavel? Sir, you are out of order. Okay, there's a gentleman there that'd be happy to show you where the door is. You've showed more than that, sir. Okay, the next item on our agenda, is a public hearing on the first reading, and it's an ordinance to enact Chapter 70, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 2, Administration and Enforcement, Division 1, which is generally Section 70-31, Electronic Summons System Fee. It's concerning the imposition and the amount and the administration ordinance of the Code of the Town of Abingdon, Virginia. Mr. Sullivan, I believe you have, Chief Sullivan, I believe you happen to be here this evening with us. If you care to enlighten us on this, please.
I couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I just heard my name.
Okay, we're here regarding the public hearing on the electronic summons.
Okay.
Okay.
Background on these summons.
Yes, please.
The Commonwealth approved localities to charge an additional $5 for summons for traffic citations.
Okay, 1 second, please. We're really having trouble hearing you on that microphone.
I think the crowd wants
Okay. How about now?
Test it.
All right. If you could raise it up a little bit, maybe that will
Justin,
help.
I'm not too technically savvy. Okay, how's that?
Very good.
Wow, I've got like a deeper voice here. No.
Commonwealth of Virginia approved this year a $5 fee to be added on to traffic citations upon conviction at court, with the purpose of setting the $5 fee aside to allow localities to use that money to move to e-summons or electronic summons in place of a paper copy. Essentially, agencies buy a handheld scanner, much like UPS uses when you get a package delivered and signed. The information is entered in there, and then once you sign it, they print you out a small receipt as opposed to the big summons. Benefit being to the court, it's paperless, everything's transferred electronically into the court files. In order to do this, we have to adopt a local ordinance. We have not moved there because we have no funding for it, but with adopting the local ordinance will allow us to collect the $5, let it be set aside so we can move to purchasing the equipment to move to e-summons. This same request is, I think, has already been made at Washington County by the Sheriff's Office and other localities around the state.
Okay, do we have any questions of Chief Sullivan regarding this matter? All right.
Mr. Mayor, the
Yes.
legal department would ask that this particular ordinance be adopted and doing so on the first reading made immediately effective.
Okay. All right. Now, again, we have for our consideration tonight an ordinance concerning allowing us to issue electronic summons. And Ms. Eisenhower, do you have any other comments that you want to make about that before I open the public hearing on this matter?
I think the chief pretty much covered this. Presently, Washington County does have the ordinance, and in order to get our share of the $5 per summons, we do need to pass this.
Okay. Okay, we again are going to have a public hearing on this particular topic, which is the electronic traffic summons. Is there anyone here tonight who wishes to address us on the matter of the electronic summons? If so, they're welcome to come forward and speak to us about that particular topic. Again, you know, we're considering this electronic summons ordinance. I don't see anybody who wishes to address that matter at the present time, and I will therefore declare the public hearing to be closed. And council, what is your pleasure on this matter?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we approve, adopt, and immediately begin the ordinance to enact Chapter 70, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 2, Administration Enforcement, Division 1. Generally 70-31, electronic summoning systems fee, imposition amount, administration ordinance of the code of the town of Abingdon.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to that effect?
Second.
Mr. Mayor, may I comment?
Yes, sir.
Would this, I believe Ms. Eisenhower had alluded to the fact that we would be dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance. Is that?
That was my understanding
That is in my motion.
of his
Okay.
motion.
Thank you.
Yes, enact on the first reading.
All right. Okay, we have a motion to enact this ordinance on the first reading and to dispense with the second reading to make it go into effect immediately, which would permit us to issue the electronic summons and collect the appropriate fees. Is there any, do we have a second?
I did so.
Okay, excuse me. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Triplett if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe. Aye. Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Our next item is consideration of a lease agreement between the town of Abingdon and the Barter Foundation for property currently housing the Barter Theater main stage. Very appropriate. We're here tonight for that occasion. And I think Ms. Eisenhower, would you care to comment about that, please?
This is a 20-year renewal of the lease that we currently hold with the Barter Theater. It does include some additional diagrams at the end, A and B. You have those in your packet, which also includes the addition built between the town hall and the Barter. This is the complete, it reflects the same as the original lease along with the addendum.
Okay, so we have operated this lease on pretty much a 20-year basis for some time?
Yes.
Okay, so essentially we own the exterior, we own the theater, or the town does, and we're, I'm sorry? Okay, again, we have our item, we are considering tonight the lease on the Barter Theater, and extending the 20-year lease that we have on this property. I'll entertain a motion regarding this matter.
I'll entertain a motion that we'll go ahead and approve this 20-year period.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any comment or questions? Ms. Triplett, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, our next item is consideration of a lease agreement between the town of Abingdon and the Depot Artists Association Incorporated for property located at 314 Depot Square Southwest. Ms. Eisenhower, how about that one?
This lease is a replica of the one prior as well. It's a 5-year lease at consideration that would be the upkeep and maintenance of the physical building itself. Very same terms.
Okay, and how much is that lease?
That would be $1
$1. Is that a year or for the 5-year term?
for a 5-year term.
All right. Okay.
Is that internal or external?
The maintenance,
All internal and external.
they would use the maintenance on the inside,
Okay.
interior.
Okay, very good. We have I'll entertain a motion regarding this matter.
I move that we renew the lease with Arts Depot with the current terms for the next 5 years.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to extend the lease to the the Depot Artists Association for the property located at 314 Depot Square for another 5 years at the term of the dollar before mentioned. Any comment, questions? If our clerk will call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, our next item is consideration of the change of fee structure as recommended by the Historic Preservation Review Board. And Mr. Johnson, would you advise us on this, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Good evening. The HPRB did vote unanimously to recommend a change in the fee structure for requests for certificates of appropriateness from that board. They felt like it would be more appropriate for requests coming to them to have no charge unless the applicant is seeking tax relief under the historic tax credit relief, where it would remain at the current $50 fee. I'd be happy to answer questions if you have any.
Okay, again, as I understand it, we currently charge a $50 fee to individuals who are requesting approval by the Historic Preservation Review Board as part of the application process, and that we would essentially drop that fee unless the parties involved are seeking the appropriate tax credits for the renovations.
That is
correct?
absolutely correct.
Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions of Mr. Johnson about this? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll entertain a motion that we go ahead and make this change to fee structure.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second to essentially drop the fee requirement for applications submitted to the Historic Preservation Review Board, with the exception of those situations where the applicant is looking for historic tax credits. Any further discussion or comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Triplett to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, and that brings us to resolutions. We do have for our consideration of tonight a resolution of support for the town of Abingdon application for revenue sharing funds on Green Springs Road realignment project. Mr. Dew?
Mayor Morgan, members of council, you have before you a resolution that's part of the requirements for a full application for revenue sharing funds. This is for the Green Spring Road realignment project. As you know, revenue sharing is a 50% split between VDOT funds and town committed funds. And this is in addition to funds that have already been allocated for this project. Passing this resolution commits the town to match an allocation of up to $2,973,605 for this project. you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to address them.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Dew regarding this matter?
Mr. Dew, how long has this been on our plan, on the town's plan?
We've had plans and concept studies on this project dating back to 2012, I'm aware of.
What initiated that?
Well, there've been concerns for some time about the safety of the intersection, the current intersection of Green Spring Road and Cummings Street, as well as safety concerns with the curve on Green Springs Road just east of Cummings Street.
Other questions? Okay, I'm going to read this resolution into the minutes. And I have a resolution of the Council of the Town of Abingdon, Virginia, to apply for additional revenue sharing funds for the Green Spring Road Realignment Project. That's VDOT project number U000-140-274, UPC number 107752. Whereas the Council of the Town of Abingdon, Virginia desires to submit an application for the allocation of funds of up to $2,973,605 through the Virginia Department of Transportation Fiscal Year 2016-2017 Revenue Sharing Program, and whereas $2,973,605 of these funds are requested to fund the Green Spring Road Realignment Project, and consisting of all construction required for the realignment of a portion of Green Springs Road from Cummings Street to approximately 0.31 miles east of Cummings Street, and relocate its connection to Cummings Street to the existing Cummings Street, Cook Street signalized intersection. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Abingdon, Virginia hereby supports the application for an allocation of $2,973,605 through the Virginia Department of Transportation Revenue Sharing Program, and further authorizes the town manager to execute any and all documents associated with the application, and hereby agrees to pay its share of the total cost for preliminary engineering, right-of-way, and construction of this project in accordance with the project's financial documents. All right, Council, what's your pleasure regarding this resolution? I could entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I move that we approve this resolution as presented.
I'll second her.
Okay. Any discussion or comment? Ms. Triplett, please.
Ms. During.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, and that brings us to matters not on the agenda. For starters, I think, Ms. Eisenhower, I believe you had a matter that you wish to bring to our attention.
Yes, I'll pass this resolution down to Mr. Mayor or someone that he might direct to read it into the record. But with regard to the case, Abingdon Professional Center versus County of Washington and Town of Abingdon, Abingdon Professional Center has decided to counteroffer a settlement of an assessment of $3.6 million, leaving the town with an owing repayment of $8,284.27, plus approximately $486.36 in court-ordered expenses by the circuit court in this matter. We have drafted a resolution which is included with your packet of materials, and I've just passed you one that I believe has all the correct facts included. We would ask that the council authorize issuance of said resolution and authorize the town manager to request checks from the Director of Finance in the amounts specified therein.
Okay, and our Vice Mayor Lowe, I believe you have the resolution to read into the record.
Whereas the Washington County Commissioner of Revenue has certified erroneous assessment of the real property identified with tax map number 105A-10-1 hereinafter the property for the general tax assessment period beginning January 1, 2013, in accordance with order of the Circuit Court of Washington County, Virginia, entered July 8, 2015, in the matter styled Abingdon Professional Center, LLC versus the County of Washington and the Town of Abingdon. Whereas the owner of the property has offered in compromise that the value of the property be assessed at $3,600,000, whereas the Washington County Commissioner of Revenue has certified that the amount of overpayment of taxes based on such compromise value would be $7,224.70, and whereas Deborah C. Eisenhower, Town Attorney, has reviewed the law and records in this matter and provide her consent to the proposed reimbursement of it if it is the will of the council. Therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of Abingdon, Virginia, after consideration of the best interest of the town in accordance with Virginia Code 58.1-3980 through 58.1-3983 and 58.1-3994 as follows. In accordance with the Code of Virginia 58.1-3994, the council consents to the compromise assessed value of $3,600,000 that was proposed by the owner of the property for the real property identified by tax parcel number 105A-10-1 for the general assessment period January 1st through January the 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2016, contingent upon the owner, Abingdon Professional Center's agreement with Washington County and the town of Abingdon that no further review will be requested except upon a showing of fraud, malfeasance, or misrepresentation of material fact. The council notes that the compromise is accepted without reliance on an appraisal that reached such value conclusion, but instead in accordance with statutory allowance for acceptance of compromise, and the council directs the interim treasurer to reimburse Abingdon Professional Center LLC the amount of $8,284.27. That's $8,284.27 plus interest at the rate of 10% annum for the amount of overpayment received by the town based on the invalidated assessed value, and also contingent upon the agreement of no further request for review as previously described herein.
All righty. Council, what is your pleasure regarding this one?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the resolution as presented.
I'd second that.
And that's as long as they don't make you read it again. Is that the
That's
size of it?
correct.
Okay, so we have a resolution regarding the legal settlement that was worked out there. And any further comments, questions? Hearing none, Ms. Triplett, please.
Ms. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, at this point in time, we generally provide an opportunity for individuals who may wish to address the council on items that are not currently on the agenda. We will welcome, did we end up with a sign-up sheet or anything, or does that go by the wayside? All right.
It's coming.
Okay. All righty. We have a list of people who have expressed an interest tonight to address the council. And again, we had an unexpected development late today that caught us all a bit by surprise concerning the proposed action on the rezoning of the property that we're all familiar with. And I know there were a lot of people who have strongly encouraged council to delay the action on that, and that has in fact been what's accomplished on this particular evening. We will, certainly entertain comments from individuals tonight. We are going to require that you hold your comments to 3 minutes. We ask that people try to be on their best behavior, and we're welcome to listen to your comments. I would note this is not a public hearing, but again, where people can address us about issues that they have concerns about. I would anticipate that probably in December we will have this item concerning the rezoning on our agenda, and at that time there will also be an opportunity for individuals to address us. But tonight, again, we will take comments if folks wish to speak to us about this matter. And I'll ask our clerk if she would please go through the list and call the individuals who have expressed a desire to speak to us.
Jean Ing. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Good evening. My name is Jean Eng, and I'm not a resident of Abingdon, but of Washington County. and I appreciate the chance to talk to you. You noted tonight was several items on the agenda about leases, and you talked about the Arts Depot. Right next to our depot, there's a train station, which occupies currently the Washington County Historical Commission. I understand that their lease is not going to be renewed next fall, and if it is not renewed, they will have to vacate it, and they will not be able to afford or continue on, and I believe the city will be greatly diminished by the absence of the Historical Commission. So I would appreciate somebody consider reviewing this lease issue and maybe come up with a different solution than just to vacate them next fall. That's all I have to comment.
Thank you very much, and we'll not get into a lengthy discussion about it tonight, but again, this council would have to take action to, not renew the lease. We have no desire to put the folks out on the street. We do know that they have been working hard to find another location, and hopefully that will happen, but again, we have no desire to put them out on the street.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Nan Harmon. Greg Mead.
So I'll get my money's worth tonight.
All
Came out in
right.
the rain. I want to thank you guys for accommodating the meeting tonight in a larger space. If we could have got the microphone up there, I could have said I performed at the barter. So maybe next time we'll do that. But anyway, a little context. I've been a Creeper Trail volunteer for 9 years now, and was treasurer of the Creeper Trail Club for a long time. Worked real hard to make it better for everybody and all the users. And everywhere I go, when I talk to people and tell them, I don't even tell them I'm associated with the Creeper Trail Club. I just tell them where I'm from, and many times, the first thing they'll mention is Creeper Trail. So I think we can all agree that it's a local treasure, and in fact, it's one of less than 40 national rail trails in the whole United States. So it's something pretty special that not many people have. And I don't have a lot more things to say than you guys heard me say last time twice, matter of fact, so I'll try to be short. But I can say, in my opinion, the rezoning process has not been as transparent as I believe it should have been, and all the ramifications haven't completely been addressed, at least not in a satisfactory way. I'm not real sure what kind of leverage the town has to make sure the ball fields happen. I've heard a lot of talk about it and a lot of promises, but that's technically, I know we're not even talking about that technically tonight, the whole rezoning, but last month when we were talking about the rezoning, and this coming month when we will be presumably talking about it again, I'm not even sure how the ball fields are legally connected. I'm also pretty positive traffic around exit 17 is only going to get worse. And I haven't seen any hard concrete data on how this project makes financial sense. So I'm still concerned about that. And I would encourage the town to spend the next 30 days really exploring the full impacts that the rezoning will have on the trail, the traffic, and the existing retail businesses and space. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Link Elmore.
I'm sorry, who was that, please?
Link Elmore.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, for bringing us together tonight in a larger space. We do appreciate that. And with the change in the agenda, I certainly understand that we may have more comments and conversation to have, next month. In the meantime, I'd like to just point the council to a couple of resources that may be germane to your decision-making. Like my friend Mr. Mead, I've also been a volunteer with the Creeper Trail Club. I've served as president. I've been on the board, lots of different jobs, and I share his enthusiasm for the trail and for the reputation that it brings to our town. And that's documented in a couple of studies that are available on the Creeper Trail Club's website. And both of those are done academically, and they're done by economists, and they're there to, give the economic impact of the Creeper Trail. And I guess what I would point out to the town is that we've already invested in the Creeper Trail. And to do anything that even potentially would wreck that investment, I think we should have a very clear cost-benefit analysis done. And I hope by December that opportunity will, when we talk again in December, that the applicant, or the town council, or whomever might be in favor of this rezoning would at least make the argument that there is a benefit economically to the town, because there's certainly a benefit from the Creeper Trail. If anybody's interested, those studies are available at vacreepertrail.org/data. You can go there and read them yourself. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Anita Manuel.
Let's see if this, oh, it does it just fine. Well, thank you very much for having us here. I'm actually kind of glad that there's been a delay, because it allows for some other things to happen that some of us very much want to have happen. And I wanted to say something tonight about values and process. And I was thinking about it. I think about it as moving into the 21st century. Out of the 20th, and I've, in discussions, been hearing some things about progress in terms of building businesses and so on. But I'm very much, I came to Abingdon to be part of Elder Spirit, so I actually have a very values-oriented orientation. And I've bought a very old house on Kings Mountain with the idea of helping a permaculture community garden come into place. So I'm very dedicated, if you will, to sustainability values. And I think of it if we think of it in terms of business bottom lines, I think of 20th century as having a profits bottom line. But more businesses now, as we're moving into the 21st century, are actually having what's called a triple P bottom line, which includes people and planet and profits. So in terms of planet, I actually opened up a Bible this afternoon, and it came to Job. And I read that last section of Job where God speaks to Job, who's kind of been doing the woe is me thing. And he says, I am in the mountains, I am in the flowers, I'm in the birds. In other words, I present myself through the natural world. And so that's planet, and I think in any decision that we're making at this point that we need to be very, very aware of that as just as important as business dealings. As far as people is concerned, I am concerned that that there be some sort of more open process. People really were caught off guard with this, so something was going on kind of in back rooms and behind closed doors. I don't know for sure. This is such a formal setting that it might have just been really formal and people couldn't quite follow it. I just read a short article about what Indianapolis had done. You know, Indianapolis has really, really gone downhill. And so they had a city-wide process by which people were asked what they really wanted for the city, and they have cleared out cars from the center of town and put in walkways and put in bicycle routes, and people are using it now. So I would just hope that Abingdon would be able to move into that more kind of open process as well.
All right, thank you.
Barry Proctor.
I too want to thank you for moving this to this location and accommodating folks in a lot more comfortable way than.
Mr. Proctor, I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Are you a principal of the Friends of Abingdon?
Yes.
Okay. We had received a letter from an attorney that had been hired for the group today. Is there legal action contemplated against the town of Abingdon?
No, there's some exploring issues that may be at some point, but no, there's been no decision made so whatsoever. We're looking for people with the expertise to review the process, to see what's been done in connection with that, but there's been no authorization for legal action to be brought.
Okay, I'm going to let you make your statement tonight, but in general, we have a policy as a council when legal action is contemplated, and again, when we received the letter from your attorney today, that sort of set us into that motion. And if your organization has anticipates legal action, you need to, communicate directly with Ms. Eisenhower, our town attorney, but I'll let you go ahead and make your statement tonight.
Sure.
Please.
We have not authorized any legal action to be taken, simply to review the record. All right. Let me just have a bit of context about what I'm about to read. As you may recall, at the meeting on October the 7th, a question was posed of Mr. Smith concerning if it was possible for the development that he proposed to take place in his present location. And he responded in the way that he did. This afternoon, I received a response to that by the owners of that property who, in all candor, were somewhat offended by that. They've asked me just to even out the record, to read this response that I'll give you a copy of to what was said that night into the minutes.
Ms. Eisenhower, is that something we should,
Or is that hearsay?
no, wait, just Ms. Eisenhower, should we permit that to go forward?
I think it's okay for Mr. Proctor to tender a copy of the letter to us. I don't know that it's necessary that it be read at this time.
Okay, just a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. And we're going to handle it appropriately, too. All right, Mr. Proctor, I'll let you go ahead and make the statement, read the letter. Again, we're trying to...
Sure. And let me make it perfectly clear. I'm reading it with no comment. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not endorsing it. It just came to me. They asked that an attorney read it into the minutes as a response to what was said by Mr. Smith earlier. And it's pretty brief. And I'm going to provide a copy to all the town council.
And I would encourage you to provide one to Mr. Smith, too.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's not here to speak for himself.
All right. What this says, it's headed Town Center Owner's Statement. Food City is currently located on Town Center Drive in the Town Center Shopping Center, which is just across from the proposed new development. Over the past few years, discussions have been held with Food City about them purchasing Town Center Shopping Center. The reason it makes sense for Food City to buy the existing shopping center is because of the evolution of grocers dictates that larger stores with more merchandise variety make sense for today's shoppers. Food City developed a plan that will allow them to expand their current store at the Food City Shopping Center. It was thought by Food City that from start to finish, the expansion of the store would take 5 months. Negotiations for Food City to buy the center have not been finalized due to the conditions of the existing loan. Food City would easily or could easily assume the existing loan, or the loan could be paid off. If the loan is paid off, then the lender is due a substantial prepayment penalty. Food City would prefer to pay off the loan, but does not want to pay the prepayment penalty. That penalty goes away in 2017. In addition to talking with Food City about them purchasing the center, the owner's property manager has been working very hard to maintain the center, including recently replacing the Kmart and small shop roofs at a cost of over $500,000. Requests from tenants, including Food City, have always been handled expeditiously, including approval of Food City's installation of their gas pumps. The property manager knows of no outstanding maintenance or tenant-related issues with Food City, and was surprised to hear that Food City stated that the landlord has been uncooperative and absentee. In fact, the property manager recently had lunch with the real estate director of Food City, and no issues were brought up. It is the owner's desire to continue discussions with Food City about their purchase of the center.
All righty.
One other matter on a personal note, and this is a sad thing for me to say, but before the meeting that we had at the incubator, it was reported to me from people at Kroger's, where we were obtaining signatures on petitions, that someone identified as a member of the council had called people at Kroger's, and they had recognition of where the call was coming from, and they recognized the person's voice, and they were told that if the people collecting the petition were not off of that within the next 10 minutes, that the police would be called and the newspaper would be called. I did not make any comment about that because that's the only source that I had. Later today, I received confirmation of that same conversation with a member of the Washington County Bar. Now, I'm not here to identify any members of the council other than to say this, that I think this exercise that we're seeing here is the best example of democracy and grassroots citizens' participation in their government that I've seen since I've been here. Now, if in fact,
This is me.
Let's just not get into it tonight. No.
if in fact what's been reported to me is accurate, I would just remind everyone that the United States Constitution and the Virginia Constitution consider sacred the right to petition our government and the right to have free speech. So I'm not identifying anybody. I'm saying what's been reported to me now from the second source. And I say make sure that this process continues on in the way that makes all of us proud.
Thank you very much. Okay?
Christina Morris. Christina Morris.
Okay.
Carla Doles.
Okay, my name is Carla Dolce. I live at 315 Lowland Street in Abingdon. And quite frankly, I'm just angry, and I apologize to everyone, but I'm going to have to vent a little bit. Okay? This project is in my face. This project, I'm going to see it, hear it, I'm going to smell it. And the process that has taken place with this council is abominable. I cannot believe how little public input was allowed. I mean, I will say one thing. Congratulations to the town council members and employees for such an excellent job in planning this development outside of the public eye. You've done a great job navigating the sunshine laws and keeping this commercial development out of the press and from the general public. And it's obvious from everything that's gone on that this is a done deal, that no matter what we say, forget it, it's a done deal. That seems fairly clear. But I will also say that I really don't have any fault with any of the corporate profiteers behind this development. Corporate entities do what corporate entities are legally bound to do. They maximize their profits, and that's all that these people are doing, is maximizing their profits. There is a little bit of fault that I'm going to find with myself and with the rest of this general public. It's our shopping habits that give these corporate profiteers the power that they have to do what they've done, which is basically control this council. And what I hope is that, the general public, after this process, after seeing how this process has taken place, I hope the public starts looking at their voting habits and realizes that they're the ones that put you in these seats. They're the ones that need to take you out of these seats. And I also... But in addition to that, we need to look at our voting habits that we practice every day from our wallets. Okay, you spend money every day, folks. You're the ones that gives these corporations power with the money that you spend. I suggest that you look at the farmer's market, that you shop at the farmer's market, where you can see real farmers who respect agricultural land and who are going to use agricultural land for agricultural purposes. And so I hope that we all vote differently, not only when it comes to who's going to sit on your town council, but also vote with your wallet for what corporations you want and what business entities you want to give power to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy Patterson. Richard Rose. Stephen Jett.
I'm afraid I was out of town for the hearing that was held previously, so I didn't appear at that time, and I know this is not a hearing. I have to say I have generally respected the council, and I have to say, though, that I disagree with their preliminary decision on this particular issue. I concur with the concerns about the creeper trail, but I think a bigger issue is involved here, and that is the policy of the town, if there is any, with respect to general growth. Are we a slow growth community, or do we have any policy along those lines? Growth can, there are limits as to what town council can do with respect to controlling growth, but I think the council does not need to change the zoning in order to encourage growth of this kind if we want to keep the town as I think most of us like to see it. Thank you.
Eric Reese.
In keeping with what this gentleman just said, I have some of the same feelings. I would like for the council to take a look at Exit 7, and I would like for you to then compare that to what's going on at Exit 17. If you look at Exit 7, it got plopped down there without the infrastructure to take care of it. They put hotels, big grocery store, franchise restaurants, and a smattering of retail all around it. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Try driving down there right now. Jump forward to Exit 17. What do you got? A project that is suggesting that a great big grocery store, franchise restaurants, and hotels are the way to go. You know, I think that they can probably put a facade on those buildings, sort of pseudo-historical. But you know, like somebody recently said, it's lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. Thank you.
Wayne Craig.
Mayor, member of council, I want to thank you for allowing the public to speak tonight. I want to tell you that I have a great deal of respect for what you have done for this town, and I applaud you for your service. And I do not want to accuse any one of you of any wrongdoing whatsoever. I want to make that perfectly clear. But I do feel like I need to tell you that you have a problem with the way you proceed with things. And I submit to you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that you may be the cause, by the way you proceed, of all this controversy and conflict, accusations, and all of those things. Because you are proceeding with a rezoning that is a spot rezoning, and there are members on the town council that know that that is not proper, that it's not the right way to do it, that you are not following the comprehensive plan that was that had the public involved. The planning commission approved it, and you approved it. You also approved the update. And all rezonings should be in accordance with the comprehensive plan. If you want to rezone, revise the comprehensive plan and treat all landowners in the same fashion. I think most of you know that, and it really baffles me that you have got lost. Another example, tonight you approved an application for fixing Green Spring Road intersection that is not in your transportation plan. That is an expenditure, a total expenditure of $5 million, $2.5 million of which is our taxpayers' funds. And we have not approved that. But you have gone contrary to the town transportation plan that was adopted by the public. I encourage you to please sit down and think about the way you're proceeding, and don't divide this community, and don't pit brother against brother. Do it in the right way, and all this conflict, I predict, will be avoided. Thank you, sir.
George Whitley. Jill Harless.
Hi. I don't have much to add. There were some fabulous comments. My mother just texted me, though. She's playing bridge, a house full of ladies, and want you all to know there is no one for this. There really isn't, with the exception of you all and the people that were supposed to fill these seats right here. We are just all baffled, and it's not just the Creeper Trail people, and I consider myself one of those, but a longtime Abingdon resident. This is the development besides the sports complex. This is just not a good idea. The things that make Abingdon a special place to live, a special place to retire, a special place for visitors here, you're chipping away at that, and we're going to be another spot just on the map. And then there won't be those tourism dollars, and there won't be those retiree dollars, because, and quite frankly, in years to come, it will affect my property values, and I don't even live in the town, because you're making this, you're making decisions that will take us off the map and take us out of those magazines and those articles, and I hope you reconsider. I hope it's not too late. I know we've all been told that it's a done deal and it's too late, but I'm going to go down fighting. And I think everybody just about in the county feels the same way. There is no support for your side except for you all and the developers. That's just, so anyway. And the last thing I want to say, do you really want this as your legacy? Because this is your legacy. And to travel down this slippery slope and to change Abingdon, we don't need this. And I use the Creeper Trail. I have 2,500 miles on the Creeper Trail so far this year. And thank you. And just the last couple of weeks, I love meeting people from Tennessee and North Carolina, especially on the Creeper Trail. They think we're nuts even talking about this. If you think they're going to come with development on the trail, you're mistaken. Maybe it might not affect the Damascus part, but it will very, very assuredly affect us. It'll affect our restaurants and our other businesses. We just don't need this kind of development. And I am a sports parent. And I called, just a week ago, I called someone in the real estate business, a land expert that has been here for decades and decades. There are lots and lots and lots of different properties available for a sports complex. I know we desperately need that. But this is the wrong plan, and you don't even have the sports parents. You don't even have the sports parents on your plan anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dane Ratliff.
I'll reserve most of my substantive comments for the following hearing, but just wanted to applaud the council on engaging the public and providing the information that's already provided to the public at the previous information meeting. I learned a lot at that meeting. I think a lot of us did. I think there's unfortunately a lot of misinformation out there. And when I was looking for information to educate myself about this project, I had trouble doing that, as someone else said earlier. So I would just encourage the council to make more information available to the public, hopefully inform us as to why you're convinced of the business case for this. And as a business person here in town, I always want to see the business case. And I respect the council and its political and business acumen. So if you're convinced of the viability of the project and the need for this rezoning, then there shouldn't be a problem making due diligence documents such as the Phase 1 environmental site assessment that was apparently already conducted available for public scrutiny, and any studies and research that was conducted by or commissioned by the council demonstrating what the council has said, that this project will create jobs, boost tax revenues, draw tourists, and how it accords with the unique character of Abingdon. Having that information will allow everyone to be better informed and engage with and comment on the subject matter going forward, and also perhaps convince the public of the council and project proponents' commitment to ensuring the brightest future for Abingdon. Thank you.
Terry Simmons. Simons. Sorry.
Thank you.
James Patterson.
The roads, are y'all using the same roads that is on the Food City map? Is that the road that y'all plan on using? That's what I want to try to find out.
I don't understand the question.
The new Green Spring Road that's going behind the old Green Spring Road, behind the property. I guess my question is, are y'all going to take my property?
I have no idea.
Because
I
the
don't
map
understand where your property is, and we're.
Well, the only map I've seen is from the Food City map, and that Food City map shows them coming through the middle of my property.
Have you been in consultation with Food City?
I explained to Food City I do not want to sell part of our property because it ruins the property. It's like taking one tire off of a four-tire car. It's no good if you take part of it. If we did have to get rid of it, we want to get rid of all of it, but we don't want to get rid of it. My wife's grandfather built the house, had the property. We have our horses, our cows there. We really don't want to get rid of any of it.
Well, the Food City Group has been acquiring some property over there, and our town council has not been involved in that.
Well, see, they informed me that
the town will be the one, if we did not sell it to them, the town would be the one to do eminent domain to it.
Well, we haven't initiated any kind of eminent domain.
Well,
action.
I realize that.
Okay.
Now, but on the paper, it says right there that the developer, seller, or whatever must acquire all the property. If they don't acquire my property, what's going to happen? Are y'all going to take my property?
Sir, I don't know at the moment. And that's the best answer I can give you.
When would we know?
I really don't know. You know, I'm sorry that I can't give you more information, but I don't know the answer to that at the present time. And I would encourage you to talk with the Food City folks, see what can be resolved with them. But beyond that, I really don't have anything else I can say to you because we've not been involved in acquisition.
If Food City does not get it, would y'all be involved in it?
That I don't know, sir.
David Winship.
Good evening, members of Town Council. I think we've had a dearth of information. There just hasn't been enough information. And I'm talking about the kinds of studies that, although a previous speaker spoke of an environmental study that had been done, I welcome seeing that. As to whether the traffic surveys about the additional 10,000 cars on Cummings has been done, I don't think there's been the historical or archaeological kinds of studies that would bring in new stories that we can tell here in Abingdon. But what I would like to know about is what kind of geological studies have been done and are intended to be done. Because part of our history here in Abingdon is the caves. And with the caves come the sinkholes. And there are documented sinkholes on that Meadows property. And there's an active sinkhole adjacent to that property. Last spring, a sinkhole opened up on the Elder Spirit property, and it's bringing down a part of a retaining wall that was erected during construction. Now, there's no proven cause for this sinkhole, though a lot of folks suspect that the rains are to blame. But regardless of the cause, that sinkhole has opened up and is causing quite a problem in the community. Now, in the months since, the directors of the Elder Spirit Development Corporation have struggled long and hard to find anyone who can fix a sinkhole and fix the wall that's coming down. So let me tell you, it's not going to be easy to find anyone to fix the sinkholes, and it is not cheap. And after many months, we intend to contract soon for fixing it. But I want to say two particular things. One, that it's the sinkholes that develop under this project that are going to be unexpected. And they're going to take the developers by surprise, and they're going to cost a great deal to fix. And the second thing is that I don't want our long nightmare at Elder Spirit to happen again when the blasting from the construction shakes up the earth beneath our feet. I don't know whether the developers have the kind of insurance necessary for covering the causing of geologic calamities beyond the confines of the rezoning, but I do suggest that they have it in place because it's going to be needed.
Terry, I'm not sure if it's Thomas or Tharns. Monticello Drive. Mary Zawowski. Excuse me. Zuzkowski, sorry.
Council. I understand from others that the town of Abingdon has been very well governed in the past, yet I can see now that the town council and the planning commission risk to violate the trust that citizens place in it. Clearly, the process of this rezoning issue was precipitous and less than transparent. I urge the town council and the planning commission to pause, step back, and undertake a public and comprehensive review of strategies to protect the green spaces adjacent to the Virginia Creeper Trail, and furthermore, to perform a thorough study of impact on the environment and traffic that proposed development would have. I bought a home 18 months ago in the Elder Spirit co-housing community. I'm historically not a town dweller, but the proximity of a town park and the Virginia Creeper Trail in my backyard was the major selling point. The presence or size of Food City played absolutely no part in my decision to move to Abingdon. I believed I had found a wonderful small town that deeply valued the nature within and surrounding it. Now I am among the disheartened, living in the Green Springs corridor. A recent Rails to Trails magazine featured the Virginia Creeper Trail and touted it as the economic engine and a priceless asset, bringing 250,000 trail riders a year to the town of Abingdon and Damascus, more than 25 times their combined population. And according to the town's best estimates, trail-related tourism revenues stand at $25 million a year. The article quoted town officials as saying, "People always come back, but I will wager they most likely come back for the beauty and serenity of the trail and the more quaint qualities of the town, and not so much for a larger grocery store and chain hotels." I urge you to step back, pause, and reconsider this rezoning.
Joe Levine.
Hello. Mr. Levine, are you a member of the Friends of Abingdon
I am.
organization? Okay. And are you contemplating any legal action at the present time towards the town?
We're reviewing our options. We are not contemplating. We certainly hope the town council will do what's right.
We strive to do that, but by the same token, if, again, we have a policy concerning legal actions to the town, if there's anything, I'll allow you to make a statement tonight, but beyond that, you'll need to communicate with Ms. Eisenhower, our attorney.
Okay. Abington is an oasis in the middle of urban sprawl. Before going any further, I would suggest and like to ask that the town council hold a public referendum to decide if the citizens of Abington want to continue with the Vision 2027 and the Comprehensive Plan 2027, or if the citizens of Abington wish to follow the Steve Smith, who was quoted as saying, "This development will make Abington more competitive with surrounding retail communities." The other thing I'd like to ask is that you consider immediately, or as soon as possible, placing the Meadows Farm into the historic district. The Meadows Farm is listed on the Virginia DHR as a significantly important historical site. Several people have announced many times that they're worried that things could be done to that farm. Placing it in the historical area would help to protect it and give it the protection it needs. It is a historical site. Thank you.
Michael Terpcone. Sorry. Okay, could you say it again, please?
It means 3 pigeons.
Okay, this is rehearsal. No, just
Treppichone.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's it. I sort of got the wind taken out of my sails when we heard this. Sort of got the wind taken out of my sails when we heard the decision tonight that we were going to put this off. But what I do want to say is I feel like there's been a shift of representation. I want the council to understand you represent us, not Food City. I hope I have all of your attention. And you should be taking what we're saying to Food City, why they shouldn't do this. And if you want to make this fair, get out of your offices and go talk to the people. Not here, because not all the people can come here. We've got all the people of Elder Spirit, which I am part of. We have all the people that can't go out in the rain. And we have people that just don't come to rallies like this. But when we were out, either at the incubator meeting, there wasn't one person other than Food City people there that were for this. And you really need to represent us, the people who aren't for this. I just want to make one other comment. When I was at the incubator meeting, I walked up to the site map that was on the wall, and I told them, I'm building a house near Elder Spirit, and you're building a complex that's going to destroy my view. And they turned around and said to me, sir, you will be pleasantly surprised. Trust me. And I am sure that that's what the Nazi soldiers told to the Jews when they were aiming them towards the ovens. I can't trust somebody in a corporation that's backed by money.
Matthew Dorn.
Thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is Matthew Dorn. I'm a resident of 153 Crestview Drive in Abingdon here. I'm a surgeon here in town. I have 3 small kids, all under the age of 8. I frankly haven't made up my mind about this, and I hope you guys haven't totally either. To consider everyone's viewpoints in the town, but also to consider the corporation viewpoints. I think when French Moore had the idea to bring the Creeper Trail to Abingdon, it was to build the city, to, and make the land empowered, and to make the community better. And I hope that's what the driving force behind the community and the planning would be. If that's the idea behind it, then I would support it, but I haven't made up my mind. I would want to support any kind of planning for athletic fields for children, because that is something that the community is lacking. If there is other plans for that elsewhere, then I would be interested in hearing that. If this is the only plan in the making, then that would be something that would want to make sure that that would happen if this were to go through. Thank you for hearing me tonight.
That's it. We seem to have run through our list of people that signed up. We will hear a few others. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the Abingdon Town Council and the Board of Planning and Zoning, and Mayor Morgan for letting us come in tonight and hearing our voices. We really appreciate that.
I would ask that you state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. My name is Cindy Patterson, and I live at 410 Green Spring Road here in Abingdon. I've actually lived, you got that okay? I've actually lived in my home here in Abingdon for almost 50 years. In a few weeks, I'll be 50. A turning point for me. My home was given to me by my grandfather and remains on the land that he purchased in the 1930s adjacent to the meadows, where the proposed development issue is being discussed tonight. 14 years ago, we turned our home into a bed and breakfast, which was properly named Black's 40 Bed and Breakfast. Choosing this name for our B&B was for historical significance to Abingdon and the close proximity of the land that the fort was built on in 1774. It's a place to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city life. With our horses, cattle, chickens, a few barn cats, and a blind dog, we're able to share our lovely place we call home with our family, friends, and to our guests who are strangers when they arrive, but who leave us as friends. We are concerned at what this proposed development will do to our neighbors' homes, their quality of life and ours, local businesses that we have supported over the years. And we also fear what this development will do to our business that we have worked hard to build for the past 14 years. When guests reserve a room at a B&B, they want a nice view, privacy, peace, relaxation, and tranquility. We offer this now, but if this development is allowed, we have no doubt that we will be forced to shut our doors, close our business, and lose our livelihood. A dad, along with his son, was standing at the creeper trail in front of me a few weeks back, and the dad said the creeper trail is one of the last places that the children can see farmland, especially on the first part of the trail. And I thought, wow, he is speaking for every child that visits Abingdon. The Virginia Creeper Trail is one place where electronic devices can stay home for a change, or at least in the car. And children are able to see the farmlands, very few that are remaining today, maybe for the first time in their lives. If this development happens, all of us will lose the peace and tranquility of our surroundings. That beautiful antebellum farm, the meadows, will be gone. The spring at the meadows, a valuable resource that is not replaceable, will be gone. The wildlife will disappear. The deer family, where we have about 20 there, there will be noise pollution, light pollution, possible water runoff, and much more traffic congestion, as we're not aware of any traffic studies or environmental studies that have been completed. Should the contractor's equipment take down 50, 75, or 100 feet of the Meadows Hill to build the strip mall, there will be more noise generated from the interstate, I-81, as this hill serves as a buffer for interstate at exit 17 now. Beginning the destruction of the meadows, making way for bricks and mortar and pavement, the dust will fly, whittling away the hillside that I grew up enjoying, enveloped with comfort and security surrounding by that exquisite hillside created by God, torn by man. The backup alarms for the dump trucks will begin and will not stop until the last load of precious earth is dumped and tamped. Other earth movers, the hammers, the nail guns, and noise of construction is just another day at work for some. My horses and farm animals, frightened and scared of things that are now above their heads, senses of fear comes into their minds. The smell is not familiar to them, and I can no longer protect them from the world closing in. I cannot tell them it will be okay, as they will not understand. When the dozers begin and the dynamite blows, they will run with fear and will never know the peace and serenity that they once knew. Their hearing is much keener and smell much greater. My heart is breaking. There's nothing that I can do. The car doors will slam. The locks will be locked by a press of a button. The horns will blow to acknowledge the lock. Car alarms will be set off for minutes at a time. Trash will blow through the air when car doors open, only to settle on our farm below. When night falls, you will not see the stars, only man-made lights to make the pavement shine bright. The acoustics will change and will no longer be harmonious with the sounds of nature, peace, and tranquility. Noise will fill the air. When the dust has settled and the buildings all in place, Abingdon will no longer be the charming little town it once was. It will be the mini Exit 7 with the addition of 2 more motels, 5 new restaurants, and a strip mall with a chain grocery store. The green space and mansion that takes the place that marks we are home when returning from a trip will be gone. No warm welcome home waits for the land we love. After speaking with many of our friends, neighbors, visitors of Abingdon, and other guests, along with the local businesses here in Abingdon, most do not want this development to take place, on the Meadows historic property. We have been told by many they are afraid they will lose their jobs if they say something. Some business owners have said that they're afraid that they will lose business if they sign a petition or give their opinion. We still are speechless after hearing this. What is wrong with being able to be free to speak anymore? We will speak loudly for those and for us and others that are afraid to speak. We are asking from our hearts to please do not rezone this property. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would wish to address the council tonight on this or any other matter? Okay, I'm not hearing anyone else. Council, we have a couple of appointments for our consideration. You wish to handle that tonight or on another occasion?
I don't mean to be bold, but I just want to explain that the format of this does not allow us to comment.
There you go.
So I want to explain that we do hear you, but the format does not allow comment.
We'd be happy to engage with you in a one-on-one or as appropriate. We've certainly had plenty of comment in addition to tonight, and there are some. Okay. I hear a request that we do that. Okay, we'll recess for 5-10 minutes here, and then we'll deal with the appointments. Okay, thank you. We'll be back.
Well, do we have anybody on our list? Is there anybody on the list of this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at them and get them on.
Sorry.
Pretty good. All right. Who do we have on applications for,
It's right here.
Okay, is everybody in their places? Folks, we're going back into session, and we would ask that you either sit down and join us or leave as appropriate. You're more than welcome to stay. We have a couple of appointments we're going to address tonight to some, we have, that we can consider. We have appointments to boards and committees. The first one is the Sustain Abingdon Committee. We have appointments, potential appointments of 4 members to that committee. Do you folks have folks you want to consider for that?
there might be some people here.
Mr. Mayor, we have one resident of the town of Abingdon that has applied that I see.
Mr. Keys.
Okay.
And then there is a Mr. Johnson who put several.
Okay, now we can, we could go into executive session as required, but if we can handle this out here, that would be fine. And I think, again, there were 4 appointments to the Sustain Abingdon Committee. We don't necessarily have to make all 4 at one. We don't have 4 that we wish to at this point.
Mr. Kelly, the chair of the Sustain Abingdon Commission is that Mr. Statzer?
He and Ms. Moore's report.
So, have they vetted these? I know Planning Commission and Board of Architectural Review, we have been getting a recommendation from the department head. Have they vetted these people and made a recommendation?
Rita and Mr. Statzer have made a recommendation.
Well, some of my stuff is not
No, some of my stuff
copied.
is- no, mine isn't
See
either.
what it's doing?
I was doing this.
Yeah. It's not, when it's been scanned, it hasn't come in where you can actually read it. There is a memo in your packet. You
There
should
is
be
a
able to
memo
read.
from Ms. Moore.
Right.
It's dated September 28th.
Right.
In support of sharing
Lead.
But this person, although she's been on before, is out of town, but then there's another person, there's another application, another person, that they're not recommending because that person is out of town. I don't know.
Council may want to consider, just as a suggestion, that that you direct the chair of the Sustain Abingdon Committee to come back to you in December with a recommendation for appointments to the committee.
I would, and I'd also like to, I would like for them to be able to tell me why they would recommend someone outside of the town instead of the applicants that live inside the town.
Okay. Would that be the wish of the council, is to ask Ms. Moore to provide a recommendation at the next December meeting?
Okay. All right, so that would be at the December meeting for that one. Okay, I'm hearing a consensus that we'll postpone the action on that until December. The Fairview Committee, appointment of 1 member to the Fairview Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure that it is on there, but Mike Hagee.
Yeah, it's in there.
No, there's a Mark, but there was a Mike Hagee that we were looking at too. Bruce Matthew. Wasn't the recommendation last time? No, we have a Mark Hagee. Mark would be great. Mark's with the Historical Society. But did we also talk about Mike Hagee?
I thought it was Michael Hagee, is it?
No, Michael Hagee hasn't ever been on Fairview Committee. Mike Hagee is a school teacher, retired.
I don't have the packet in front of me. I was under the impression it was Michael.
Yeah, this one is Mark Hagee, and it's a totally different person. I know Mark Hagee. He would make a fine representative, but I think that the committee had already vetted Mike Hagee.
This is a case of 2 Hagees.
Yeah, the case of 2 Hagees.
You know what?
I believe Amy's recommendation was for Michael Hagee, if I'm not mistaken.
was.
That was the application that I remember viewing.
But it's not in, I'm not seeing it in this packet. The only thing I'm seeing is Mark Hagee.
We could
I don't
always
have him.
postpone that
Yeah,
until December.
I don't remember seeing a Mike Hagee, but maybe I've overlooked it.
I don't know, for some reason, maybe could have applied before and it's not back in the loop still?
I
Could it
don't-
fallen out of the loop? Because I think he put in for it when we didn't have a vacancy.
When we did not have an opening?
Right.
Okay, that very well could be then. I will go back and double check that.
If you'd allow us to confirm that, we could bring that back in December.
Yeah, I think that let's confirm it and look back if that's okay with the council, because either one of these would be a fine person. We had vetted Mike, we had not vetted Mark, and I think it would be better to make sure with Mike that he still wants to be on it. And has the proper application in, because if he doesn't, then we need to go with Mark.
Okay, now there is, again, I'm looking at an application for Mark Hagee in here.
There is a Mark in there.
Okay. Are you wishing to act on this or
No.
to wait?
No,
Okay.
we would like to see, because we vetted the very committee vetted Mike Hagee.
Okay. All right, and that brings us, so again, that is something that we would act on at our December meeting. And that brings us to the Tree Commission. No, and I'll tell you who needs to be on it is that Mr. Mead that was here earlier. He's a forester, but perhaps he might wish to apply. So we don't have an application at this point for the Tree Commission? All right, and which one is that, please?
Chris Sullivan.
All right, it's right in front of me.
Yeah.
He has a BS in Forestry and Wildlife, Virginia Tech, 1994. Lives in the town of Abingdon.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Oh, you can say a whole lot.
Didn't we decide that anybody that applied for any commission that weren't appointed was going to be added to our council packets monthly for a year?
Yes.
And so, you know, we had some people that have applied that said they would take any board, and some of them specifically named a board. And I do remember we talked about rolling all of those people over, so it kind of looks like that we're all not on the same page. Let's just put all of this off until next month.
Would that be agreeable?
I'll second that if it's a motion.
Okay, and I don't think we even need to make a motion. I think we can just act on it this evening. I will have to warn you, I have no idea what next month will be like in terms of, you know, how the time frame will work or anything like that, but we can make the effort and hopefully have our act together on that. Okay, council is, this brings us to council member reports. Is there anyone who wishes to, Mr. Humphreys, any comments or?
I'm sure I probably had something, but it went out the window a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay, Vice Mayor Lowe.
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Howard?
No, I don't have anything.
Ms. During?
No, sir.
Okay, and I think I will go home. All right.
I think that's a record, Mr. Mayor.
Not quite, but I will note that there are a number of events coming up tomorrow. Or excuse me, there's Election Day tomorrow. There's a variety of events that are going on here, and I've had enough. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.